Hello! Ooh, we bring you again another fine piece of literature. Pardon the glare as we actually pop into this thing. I'll be orienting this to avoid that. So what this is, Lincoln Mercury Division Close-Up Facts Features release for the 1982 LN7. So first year of the LN7, it would only have 2 years, 82 and 83. And just because of that, the cars are extremely rare. And because of that, literature for said cars are extraordinarily rare. So far, this is kind of the only LN7 piece of literature I've been able to find outside the main catalogs for 82 and 83 model years. There are plenty of car reviews of them and things like magazines, plenty of snippets of advertisements for these guys, but not too many things from Ford about these. So this was pretty neat. On the outside cover, this is what it is. It was hole punched either by Ford or by the dealership, whoever had this. I'm not really too sure. This is kind of the only copy I've been able to see. I was just roaming around online, found a photo of this, went straight to the website, bought one up, came out to me, and it's darn near pristine. Just a little bit of wear on the fold edge on the outside, just because I'm sure it's been in a box for a long time with stuff gently brushing against the end edges. So the front and back cover is a very nice mural of 82 LN7. This whole book, for whatever reason, is black and white, except for the purple outline of LN7, and then you'll see towards the back there are purple print pages. And in the video here it may appear blue to you, but believe me, these are purple like Grimace from McDick's. Anywho, let us begin. So it starts off with a bit of a catchphrase that goes over all the basic specifications, mostly measurements. And there's a lot of neat ones here. The main ones being that it's only got 11.3 gallons. There's almost 32 cubic feet of cargo room on the inside. Wheelbase of 94.2 inches. Other things like curb weight being just under 2,200 pounds. That's slightly more than the EXP of this era, mostly because of the glass. Supposedly, the LN7s have more sound insulation, sound deadening inside the car. I should also mention they got a little bit more molding right here. The EXP is thinner. And then the nose is slightly different, but that doesn't really affect the weight. But back to what I was saying, supposedly these have more sound deadening than the EXPs do. I'm not sure. As soon as I can get a hold of an LN7, I suppose that's something we can find out. Until then, I haven't really caught anybody restoring LN7s. It's just been EXPs, and the LN7s that exist, they're either crushed in scrapyards or they're immaculate survivors. There's hardly any middle ground in there for the LN7s, whereas EXPs, that middle ground is probably the majority of the car population for those. I list out some of the more technical features. Nothing too crazy. Nice clean side shot of a two-tone car. And then we'll start off at the top of the text here. And you're welcome to read through all this. Go ahead, slow the video down or pause it. It's kind of giving an overall view of who's going to be buying these cars and for what reasons. And then they include a few decent photos. This one of them washing it, that's new to me. Same with this. But this photo, I'm pretty sure, is in one of the LN7 books. Next page, it starts bragging about the aerodynamics of this car because they are awfully impressive. It quotes in this book Craig drag coefficient of 0.36, but I believe the actual drag coefficient in North American standards is 0.37. Sorry, but still, that's mighty impressive for the time. That was Ford's most aerodynamic car. The only cars at the time more aerodynamic than this were a few Porsches and a couple other exotic cars, like the Ferrari 308 was pretty close to this one in spec. So it's really close to that 0.37. Yeah, so of course they brag about it. A lot of it is just down to like how the nose cone is shaped, for one, and then they talk about some of the features here. Here we go. Aerodynamically tuned front and rear pillars. That part's kind of important when you look at the side profile of the car. This cutaway actually displays it better. But down at the rocker, the car's in set. It gets a little wide right by this contour line, and then it's almost perfectly vertical up until we reach the door handle where that contour line is. And then it comes up at like a not exactly a 90-degree angle, a little bit more than that, I should say. 80-degree angle. And then that whole back pillar, as Ford says, it does curve back a little bit, and it curves a bunch to the top. So that alone helps morph the incoming air around the bubble back so well. And there is a difference between these and the notchbacks. The notchbacks are very aerodynamic still. The most of the car is, because the only difference is just this bubble back. The bubble backs are much more aerodynamic here, just as the lines describe here. The wind goes through it quite well. You can have two identical cars, EXPs or LN7s, and if one has a bubble back, it's going to coast a lot better than the other one does. It's pretty amazing. And this is pretty accurate here too. That's also a reminder to make sure that you have decent trunk gaskets and your trunk closes and seals up properly, because this is very true. You'll have a lot of exhaust fumes piling up behind that tail light, and if your hatch is cracked open or isn't sealed, you're going to be sucking that into the cabin. Believe me, this is something I've witnessed on a few of these. Many other cars have the same problem, but when we're talking about an old carbureted car that's probably not in its healthiest of shape, so before I fix them up, yeah, that's a big problem. Again, you're welcome to pause this and read all these here. It just keeps talking about it. And they did spend a lot of time making these aerodynamics. A lot of it was looks, and a lot of it was making them efficient. So even though they weigh slightly more than Escorts, they're lower. They have better aerodynamic in the front and along the back. So their performance is still on par, and the fuel economy is still on par. And darn near identical. Actually, thinking about it, I think if you look up the specs, they are identical. Here it starts talking about some of the more mechanical features, specifically the transmissions. So it talks about the fancy front-wheel drive transmissions that they've been putting in these. It's actually their only second car to be front-wheel drive for North America, the first one being the earliest Fiesta. And then we start talking about steering and suspension. Suspension in these is pretty good. I mean, even today, people will brag about how these handle at autocross courses and racetracks, better than all of your other VWs, your Omnis and Dodge K platforms, etc., etc. These things handle really good so long as you can set the camber up front to your liking. That's kind of the only hard part with these. It does talk about the TR performance setup. because you could have TR tires or you could have the full TR suspension. Now we get into standard features of the car. It talks again bragging about certain aspects of it. All LN7s have dual mirrors. EXPs, they all come with one. If you want to pay a little bit extra, you'll get a second one. This was pretty neat. This is the first Ford ever to have blacked out taillights. Unless I'm wrong, please correct me, but I believe that's the case. So yeah, they're completely black until you turn on the light, and then they glow red, and then the reverse light glows white like it all should. It's pretty awesome. And then we started talking about the dashboard and instrument cluster some, all the various features of the dashboard. It's nothing too crazy. And we get into passenger comfort and compartment spaces. So there's a bunch of stuff here of all the EXP LN7 seats. They all recline. There are some Escort seats out there where the Escort is so cheap that the seat is fixed and it will not recline. Yeah, we're talking about a $2 feature yanked from a seat. Ridiculous. Most Escorts won't even have the clock. Some won't even have a radio. Some won't have a map light. But the EXP and LN7, they all get all of these out of the gate. We go looking closer at the cargo compartment, bragging about the space, and it is a lot. 32 freaking cubic feet. That's a boatload. The Escort station wagon, I think, is only like 39. If that says how big these are, but that's mostly thanks to not having a back seat, you know. And it compares it with a few competitors. At this point in time, there's not too many cars the size, and not too many sports cars. More optional interior equipment. It brags about the automatic transmission. Yep, all 3 speeds. They're not even 3 separate gears. It's just one that has a couple of prefixes, thanks to a sun gear, a planetary gear set, I should say. Just thanks to that, you're able to have 3 different speeds out of the 1 gear pack. Brags about the sheepskins. These are extremely uncommon. Any EXP or LN7 that has these are going to be awfully rare. The shearling seat cloth. Talks about the air conditioning controls, which is pretty neat. Not too many cars at this time have AC yet. Flip up sunroof, pretty neat in a sports car. Talks about the radio some and a few of the fingertip controls. And including cruise. Here's where we get into the salesman portion of the catalog or brochure, manual, however you would like to call it. Talks about the 6-position cell. If you've seen my book on the 82 EXP, it's quite similar, at least this portion of the book, because the buyer of an EXP and an LN7 are quite similar. The only difference is whoever is looking at an LN7, they're usually more particular of a person, or more fancy of a buyer, one of the two, you know. And it tells you how to kind of approach your customer and make sales, and then these are the things that you want to be mentioning as you go around each corner of the vehicle and then eventually have them hop inside. There's a bunch to unpack here, but for me it's nothing too special because it's just talking about features that I know all of these have. So now we're at the last page. It goes over at this point in time in history, Ford is real strong on their reliability and serviceability versus cost and the fuel costs. So they're trying to tell customers how cheap these cars are, and not just how cheap they are short term, but long term. So long term, you're looking at only serious service at 30,000 every 30,000 miles. Between those increments, it's only oil changes. That's it. But come 30,000 miles, changing the spark plug. At 60,000 miles, you're changing the timing belt and plugs again. Rinse, repeat. So overall, these are very affordable, and they're really, really good on tires. Really good on brakes because they're light. And then this is a removable card. If you're a salesman, you're supposed to rip out this card right here at the perforation. Keep this amongst yourself, kind of study it, and even take it with you possibly when you're out on the floor or out in the lot and a customer's checking out one of these cars. And here's just a couple disclaimers. Your point of mentions. And then again, that same spec that we saw on the first page. Again, this is the back side of that one card with a perforated tear out. So you can take this whole car with you. And as the person asked about, well, should I be getting a Lynx, an LN7, or a Capri? This is where you're able to go through it and kind of get them the right car. So that's the nice thing about this book, is it's pretty honest. They're not trying to swindle the customer into getting anything ridiculous. But you know, if you're really looking for something cheap, economical for the family, the Lynx is going to be your go-to if you want something from the Mercury line. If you want something with more sport and more room, the Capri is where you want to be. If you're fine with something in the middle, some sort of compromise between the two, you can get performance and economy out of this without taking out too much space in your garage either. But I'll again let the camera sit and soak here so you can slow it down, pause it, enjoy any of these features here. And we'll flip the page. You can see the 6-position cell again. And then we're back to your back cover. So I'll put this away into my collection of EXP official literature and archives. And I'll grab the Ford one so you can see them kind of side by side. So there we are. Check out this. So this is more common by a lot, and this book is still pretty rare. I do have another video that goes over this inside and out quite completely for you guys. But you can see it's packed full of information. It's substantially thicker than what we had just gone through. This is an actual book. It's bound around the edge, not just stapled together like a quick little catalog. This guy is crazy fancy. And we even have half transparent sheets and a lot of awesome photos. And it talks about everything. They're trying to sell this car big in this book. But like I said, the only thing that's shared between these is the 6-position cell. So we'll get to that portion. Oops. I'll show you a few things along the way. There's a lot of technical photos and diagrams within this book, which is extremely fascinating. It's something that's kind of missed out on in the LN7 book, but it makes sense. I mean, someone who's getting an LN7, they're going to be more interested in the luxury than someone who's buying the some of you would say more barbaric Ford. But honestly, these cars are just darn near the same. The only difference is the LN7 is going to have more standard equipment than the EXP does. Yeah, things like the passenger side mirror. And this one has a pretty comprehensive comparison shootout between the EXP and a wide variety of other cars of that size. A lot. It goes over it in great detail because it does check out a lot of boxes against the competition, but not all of them. Definitely not all of them. Here we go. So here's our 6 positions. Let's pop this guy open. You can compare them back and forth. Should mention that the EXP book is not 3-ring punched. You can see there's kind of a few more benefits in some of the LN7 categories, and a lot of it's just because that it has more standard features than the EXP. Otherwise, it's about the same. And the market demographic is quite similar, if not the same. Very comparable. I mean, it is the same car. So, but yeah, that's about all I got for you guys. If you have any comments and questions on this or where to find it, I'm hoping someday I can have both of these scanned in through PDF and then put on my shared page so that they'd be free for you to view in PDF form. So that's really fun. This book was a great read in the car. This is something really fun to just quick take with you on a trip, and you'd have about an hour's worth of content inside of this versus about 20 minutes of reading literature inside the LN7 book, but still both very cool. I wish they just had colored photos so you could enjoy the paint, because the LN7 book, it talks about all the glamorous paint options that you could get. They had 3 special paint colors that you can get the LN7s and EXPs in, and it mentions that, but you're not able to see it because, like I said, the entire book is black and white or purple. But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you guys can catch me for the next book that we get.